Welcome to the show, everybody. Coming to you from a top secret location somewhere in the heart of Los Angeles. Los Angeles. Did I add a T to the end of that, Tom? Yeah.
I heard a T.
With me, you just heard his voice. He's on the show all the time. He's just here 2 shows ago. The great Tom Caltabiano. Hi.
Hi, Dan. Good to see you here.
Great to see you.
Yeah.
And also, another frequent guest on the show. Been on the show probably more. You and this gentleman been on the show more than anybody else. He hosts the enormously popular television program called Somebody Feed Phil. It's Phil Rosenthal.
You got him?
You are him.
Oh,
how are you?
Keep forgetting.
Oh, wow. I'm already drunk, so this is going to be great.
This is beautiful. Well, we got. I hope you got to pace yourself here, for we got a lot to get to today.
I see all the bottles on the table. I wish people could see this. Oh, you're videoing.
Yes, we are.
So they can see this.
It's an agave spirits extravaganza we're doing today. We've got 3 tequilas and 3 mezcal.
I mean, you literally could fill the bathtub and I could just go in.
We could do that, yeah. And we're going to do that after the show.
Right.
You'd be clean for once, Phil.
I mean, this is the category, okay? The Distilled Spirits Council, this year, agave-based spirit, tequila and mezcal are poised for the first time in history to surpass vodka as the leading spirits category.
That seems like a very
America.
big deal.
It's a big deal. Last year, I got top spirits by revenue in the U.S. last year. Vodka, $7.2 billion. That was down 0.3%. Tequila and mezcal is in second with $6 billion, up almost 18% from the year before.
And it's going to now pass
And
vodka
they say this year it's going to be the
number
#1 selling category in the United States.
In the United States.
In the States.
And what's in the world?
Vodka. Yeah. And
then, if you just go by Russia alone.
Exactly. Vodka, I think by a large margin. But again, this is the hottest growing category, certainly in the United States. And so I thought, why not have this with the 2 hottest guys I know? There you go.
This guy, yes. So he's drunk too already.
Yeah, I've had a little bit too.
By the way, Phil, I should say that Phil is a giant fan of tequila and mezcal. So this aligned.
I'm a little proud that this spirit that I happen to like is going to be #1.
Yeah,
that's right.
But you didn't personally put it over the top, Phil.
I helped.
You're a light drinker, I will say.
We used to be, when we were doing Raymond, we'd have a little scotch after a show. After we filmed the show, we would meet and have, in my office, a little celebratory taste of scotch. That was the thing. And we got into it. We got into what was it? The single malt
whiskey society where
society.
Phil just wanted to wear a skirt.
We needed a society.
Can we start a society right here?
Why not?
Sure.
Let's do it.
But then I actually started to get into tequila and then mezcal because it's a little lighter.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the good ones you can sip like a scotch.
Well, we're going to be sipping all of these, and we're going to be drinking them neat. That's the best way to really evaluate the flavor of these. And we're going to start with I love all of these, but this is one of my all-time favorites, Tequila Ocho.
Yes, famous.
And this story begins in 2008.
Yeah.
A very famous tequilero named Carlos Camareno, whose name's going to come up again in this show with another one we're doing.
Ocho is 8.
That's right.
Is that why they had 2008? Is that what it's named after?
Yes.
Is that right?
I don't know.
Phil, that was the look of being stumped on Dan's face. I've seen that many times.
I don't know where I know it. I know Ocho's 8. I don't know why they named it that.
Maybe one of the producers can look it up and then slip you a piece of paper.
Check in with me next week. Yeah, I'll do that. So it was Carlos, and then he's a 3rd generation tequilero, and then a man named Tomas Estes. Tomas died. He was a friend of mine. He passed away in April 2021. He was kind of solely responsible for bringing tequila culture to Europe. Okay. And I mean, to the point where when he died, the New York Times did a whole giant spread on him when he passed away. So he was a bar and restaurant owner for about 45 years. His first place was called Cafe Pacifico, and that was in Amsterdam in 1976. Went over there as an expatriate. He's from here. He's from Whittier, California, right here in LA. Okay. Who else is from Whittier, Tom? Your political hero, Richard Nixon.
Yeah. Oh, yes, Nixon.
He's from there, yeah.
Wait a minute. Hero. I have my Nixon underwear on, but I won't show it.
So Nixon's also from Whittier. So basically, Tomas brought Mexican cuisine and culture to the continent that really didn't have a lot of exposure to Latin American fare back in the 70s, at least not in Amsterdam, certainly. So in the obituary written by Clay Risen, Tom, you know Clay, right? For the New York Times, said the real star was the tequila. Mr. Estes, born and raised in Southern California, spent his youth shuttling to Tijuana, just across the Mexican border, where he fallen in love with the varied flavors and styles of pure agave tequila. He brought that same love to the bar program at Cafe Pacifico, which in short order became renowned for having one of the best tequila collections in the world.
Wow.
And this was Tomas's final project, still going strong. Just so you know, in 2003, he was named the official tequila ambassador to Europe by the Mexican National Tequila Chamber. And in 2012, he published what's probably the seminal book on tequila called The Tequila Ambassador. Anybody that's in tequila should have this book. I got it. Anyway, now we're going to try this Ocho Plata, which is an unaged tequila.
Blanco.
It's a Blanco, Plata, silver, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so we're going to try this one right here. And so, Ocho is in the Los Altos, the Highlands region, up by a town called Arandes in Mexico. That's where they make this. The soil, very rich there. You tend to get softer, rounder, fruitier tequilas in this area. So we're going to try this one. It's 40% alcohol by volume. What are you getting on the nose, Tom?
On the nose?
Yeah.
Sorry. Wow. I was just thinking, go under the
You're
camera.
thinking, wow, it's very lively, right?
There's a lot coming out.
Citrus
it's like
on
peppery here. and right?
Yeah. A minerality to it, I think, as well. And then
this is a good glass for this.
It's very nice.
So so people should know, they say tequila should be drunk in a kind of a, what would you call this glass? It's
like almost like a coupe glass.
It's very open,
coupe.
Very open, round bottom. It's actually one of those stemless wine glasses.
That's right.
So it has but it lets you get your face in there. So the smell really does hit you.
A lot of times at tastings, they'll do them in glass that flutes almost, that look like champagne flutes, but they're shorter. They're like half the size of a champagne flute, a little wider than a champagne flute. That's what you'll get a lot at tequila tastings. I mean, what we're not going to do is shots. We're not doing that.
I haven't done that. I mean, I've never done that. Even in college, I didn't do it. If I'm going to drink some, I want to like how it tastes. And if I like how it tastes, I'm not downing it really fast.
It's a weird catch-22 there.
This is
very nice.
Just grassy, earthy.
Yes.
Again, that sort of round feeling in the mouth that you get. No burn on this one. Again, viscous, thick. This is, if you survey bartenders, people in the craft cocktail community, Ocho's going to always come up in the, on everybody's best of list in terms of tequila.
It's got a good mouthfeel also.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
And the price on this one is...
Wait, this is where we get hit with a bill? This is uncomfortable.
How much you got on you?
What is the price? Oh, $50.
That's very nice.
That's a great price for this one. Yeah. Very
and Dan, just because a lot of people listen versus watching here, the bottle is the tallest in the array of bottles we have, right?
It is. Well, it's about the same size as the Vago, the Mezcal.
Yes.
I think it's almost exactly the same size.
And am I allowed to touch the bottles?
You can touch the bottle.
Yeah. Just let me go. Just get that
right around there.
Yep.
And what's funny, again, Tomas was born here, and they wrote this in the New York Times as well, that he was conscious of his identity as a white American selling Mexican cuisine and tequila to Europeans. And he was all about authenticity. He would take his teams every year. They go to Mexico for seminars, learning. And then Carlos Camarena said about him when he died, I thought he was a Mexican guy who by accident had been born outside of Mexico. In his heart, he was Mexican.
Great.
So we'll raise a toast here to Tomas.
Yeah. A nice, clean drink.
Cheers.
I love the bottle and the labeling, Phil.
It's beautiful.
Phil, have you ever considered, since we just found out that a non-Mexican guy was kind of the father of bringing this in, have you ever considered, as a Jewish gentleman from upstate New York, of making your own?
I fantasized about it, and I went as far as to ask questions about getting involved with your own brand of tequila. It's a giant pain in the neck.
Any spirit undertaking. I mean, Mexico tequila is probably the easier, and I'm not saying it's easy, which that's part of the reason why you're seeing this proliferation of celebrity tequilas.
Yes.
You're not seeing other types of spirits categories with celebrities because it's harder.
Right.
My friend, do you know Soderbergh? You know Steven?
I know who he is.
So Steven Soderbergh has a thing called Singani.
Yeah.
That is the national spirit of Bolivia. Okay. It's categorized as a brandy. He just got the TTB to recognize it as its own category. Right. Singani is the name of the spirit.
Wow.
He said, I've done near impossible movie shoots. He said, nothing could ever compare to the amount of effort and work and frustration that goes into doing your own spirits brand.
Yeah, no, I'm the fantasy went right out the window when I heard the
wine would be easier, I think, personally.
Yeah.
What about this, Philip?
Yeah.
A Broadway play with a spirit attached to it and a restaurant, right? Let's make a perfect storm of everything terrible.
And a boat.
Yes, and a boat. Everything. Sorry, not everything terrible end result. Everything that requires the most, the heaviest lift. Okay.
Yes.
All right. You good on that one?
Lovely.
Okay, now we're going to move on to I forgot to open this one. I was so excited to get here that I let
Philip,
a dereliction of duty here.
Can we do it? Can we pop? Is this? Oh, never mind.
Oh, Tom likes this. There we
that
go.
was a very feeble
I'm
effort.
just going to pass this over to you, Tom. Now we're moving on to an añejo.
Okay.
Nosotros Tequila Madera. This is a good story, Phil. I know you love a good story.
I do.
A young Costa Rican lad by the name of Carlos Soto came to the U.S. for college, and he and a college friend of his named Michael Arbanas. I hope I'm saying that name right. Or, I don't know. Do I hope I'm saying it right? I'm saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. They started Nosotros Tequila and Mezcal in 2017. Okay.
Yes.
This is a recent product.
2017. 6 years ago from today's broadcast.
They were in college. They took a loan out.
Wow.
In order to get the entry fee.
By the way, two things that you're not involved with, college or loans. You couldn't get either of those.
One. Yeah.
Underqualified.
They took a loan out so they could pay the entry fee to get Nosotros, their unaged Blanco, which is not what we're having there, but their unaged Blanco, to enter it into the 2017 San Francisco World Spirits Competition, which is widely considered the most prestigious in the world, in America certainly, despite the fact that I used to be a judge. It was still considered
knocked
that
it down
prestigious.
Up here. Yeah.
It won double gold and was named Best Tequila. This is the year they launched it in 2017.
Holy cow.
Catapulted the brand into the spotlight. Their distillery is located in Tequila, around the town of Tequila. Female-owned and operated distillery. There's no additives, sustainable farming practices. Madera obviously means wood in English, so that's what we're having here.
And they got Toucan Sam to be the
switched
Phil. Over from
Fruit
Loops.
there's a story to that too.
Oh. Phil's describing the label, by the way. It's a beautiful bottle, and on the bottle is something that looks like Toucan Sam, because you have an international audience of people listening.
Right, that's right.
So it's a bird with a beak.
So if you want to buy this one, you go online. All proceeds from the online sales go to the Toucan Rescue Ranch in Costa Rica.
Nice.
So you're drinking, you're getting a buzz on, and you're saving
a bird.
Are they birds, toucans? Yeah,
they're delicious though, with
they
onions
really
and
sautéed in butter.
Sorry.
I mean, it's
wrong. I went the wrong way with that.
so anyway, you're helping to save the birds here. Now this particular añejo is aged in white oak barrels for 21 months.
21 months.
21 months.
What gives it the color then?
That comes from the wood. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I mean they char it. Yeah. So and they use peapons, which you know what a peapon is? That's just an oversized barrel.
Okay.
And then they use regular. So they do a mix of blending between standard size barrels and peapons, which obviously the bigger the barrel, the less the smaller the barrel, the more wood extraction you're going to get.
Yeah.
So the tequila that's aging in the smaller barrels is going to tend to have more of that oaky flavor to it.
Yes.
And then you marry that with what's aging in the peapons.
So añejo means over 2 years?
Añejo means over a year.
1 year.
Yeah, reposado is rested. That's 2 months to a year. Añejo is a year to 3. It used to be anything over a year.
Okay.
But then they created the extra añejo category, which is anything over 3 years. Yeah.
By the way, Dan, just because you have so much knowledge and you're spewing it quickly,
Yes.
say the word a peapon.
Peapon. It's spelled Pipon.
Okay.
But it's a peapon. It's just an oversized
And
barrel.
how big is the oversized barrel? Because
big is a bigger, like if you think about how many toucans you've eaten in your life.
yes,
If you were to take all of them,
put it in a barrel.
put in barrel, that's how big it is. Because I know
It's-
you love,
yes.
you love a
Well,
good
It's a
toucan.
very specific amount.
yes, it's yes.
Do you fry them or you? Do you
It
fry
doesn't
them?
matter.
Oh,
They're
okay.
delicious. Air fried.
We're
doesn't
kidding.
matter.
We're
Deep
kidding,
fat.
everybody.
Yes, we're kidding
We love
everybody.
birds.
Don't eat toucans, people.
Yes, do not send your angry letters to Dan Dunn, care of.
All right, let's taste this beautiful
Yeah, let's
thing.
taste this
Yeah.
one.
I
And
love
by the
the
way, the
color.
presentation's great. Comes in an engraved
Oh.
box. It's
Oh,
really
that
nice.
smells nice.
Little splat ribbon around the neck there. Let's try this.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Not great.
That's like a butterscotch.
I'm getting the dried fruit. The butterscotch is totally there, right? Yeah.
That's the
Oh.
first thing it reminded me of.
I
Yeah.
would think they put butterscotch candy into. I'm not being funny. It's that.
Well,
hit you.
let's talk about this because here's what I heard. And this doesn't just happen with tequilas.
Okay.
It happens in wine, I hear, too. Spirit makers, winemakers, are allowed a certain percentage of additives, flavor additives. True or
I don't know
false?
if tequila is that way.
Well, no, you can do it in tequila, but not if it's a 100% blue agave tequila. You can't put additives in there. Yeah.
But if it doesn't
but if you get
say,
like Cuervo Gold, there's
Yes.
a lot of additives. in
if
there.
it doesn't say 100% blue agave,
Yeah. Yes.
you can almost rest assured they've added something.
Yeah. I mean, if you get into your blended tequilas and not 100% blue agave tequila, yeah, there's
There
stuff
are
that- there-
tequilas that have nothing in them. And
There are,
I've
certainly.
been like
Yeah.
looking for them
Yes.
because even the famous, we can cut this. Don Julio 1942.
Yeah.
My friend told me the reason it tastes like honey is because they put a honey flavor in that.
I don't think so.
You sure?
I don't think they can legally. I don't think they can.
This is
a
my
great-
original question.
Yeah.
Are they allowed to put flavoring additives in some of this stuff?
In a mixto tequila. That's what they call it.
Literally
Mixto-
says
a mixto
mixto?
tequila only has to be 51% agave.
Okay, but what about tequilas that don't say 100% blue agave? Are you allowed to add
they can put
anything?
additives. They can put additives in there. Yeah. This one
is
has
what-
no additives in it. Yeah. So this
Okay, so this is
this flavor is coming from the wood. That's where that butterscotch is
fantastic.
coming from. Yeah.
but they tell me the famous ones. They don't
know.
take a chance.
Wait.
They put
Oh, it's Don Julio's lawyers.
Yeah.
They're coming in right
He's here to
now.
kill
Oh
me.
no, we're getting
Oh,
sued.
oh,
Phil.
wow,
Please don't shoot.
They're suing
They're cutting-
Phil. I didn't say
Yeah.
it. He said it.
I'm not saying anything. In fact, I'm only asking.
I don't think there's additives in 1940.
We can cut all this.
Yeah, we can. No,
I don't want
I can
to-
check it, but I if they're doing
I'm
it, they're
just
sneaking it in.
curious.
They're sneaking it in if they're doing it, but I don't think they are.
Maybe one of your crack producers can look it up.
I don't have any.
They're
It's
never
me.
gonna. They're never gonna say.
That's true.
Well, they
and
can
I'm
if
not
they're
gonna.
allowed.
And I'm not calling them out. I'm just saying.
And you love the product.
I love it. I would drink
Phil's
it
becoming
anyway.
a conspiracy theorist, isn't he?
I don't think
It's
so.
deep state. It's
Yeah.
the deep state tequila folks are putting stuff in
Have
there.
you heard of Tepozan?
Yes.
So my friend turned me on to that.
Yeah.
100% all natural, no additives. And he showed me this website that actually says there's only a few of them that have nothing.
Well, when you're getting in, especially when you're getting into mezcals too,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, that
they
it's-
play loosey goose down there.
Yes.
When you're, yes, the short answer is especially in mezcal as opposed to tequila.
Yeah.
There's going to be stuff going on that but when you get into some of the ones that we're going to have,
Yes.
where they're importing, where I think they have very rigid standards about
Right.
what they're doing and what you're getting, and all of this stuff's very artisanal. And but you can put for instance, Del Maguey, which we're going to be having later, they have one that they infuse with ham, which I probably
I
should
love
for you.
the ham and cheese one.
It's hard to
great.
get that one.
Delicious.
Speaking of that, this one I would think, Phil, you do somebody feed Phil. I bet this thing would pair really well with like ribeye.
Oh,
Meats,
this one.
like rich meats, like rich salty, like beef ribs, maybe some
This
duck.
is absolutely delicious.
This is exquisite. Nosotros. Can you hand me that?
You want the
I want to get.
topper?
Yeah, I want to put this in my pants.
It really
right away.
is. It's like it's sweet, but not obviously not cloyingly
no,
sweet.
it
But
just
there's
has
just a really
it just
pleasant
has like
sweetness to it.
the aftertaste of some
And
like a candy.
Yeah, and I think the overarching pending thing is how much additives can you actually add? And Dan, you're on the side of there's some really, really strict rules.
Yes.
And Phil, who is questioning the moon landing and the purity.
Conspiracy theorist. By the way, there's a certain amount of permissible rodent hair in most of our food.
Yes.
Oh, no. Really?
Absolutely,
Really?
yeah.
Really?
All I know is last time I was down in Mexico, I was down there with my friend Jim Morrison. Oh, shit. I'm not supposed to say that. Damn
Don't
it.
say it.
Me and him and Elvis were down there.
Oh, okay.
And we were tasting tequila. You know what I also heard? They can put, there's a certain percentage. My friend Larry Olmsted, do you know, wrote a book called Good Food, Bad Food. You ever see that book? He talked about Parmesan cheese, not Parmesan Reggiano, but the stuff you buy in the store.
Okay.
Yeah.
There can be a certain percentage of like wood shavings in there.
Yes,
like
but
by
that's,
law.
That's
like,
not abnormal, though. What you're calling out, the rat hair stuff, it's not abnormal. It's disgusting to think about, but there's a certain, it's not like you're buying that Parmesan out of the big, not Reggiano, out of the big
and it's
plastic
not a
jug.
giant percentage.
Yes.
It's like a point of a percent. Because they understand the world and they understand that it would not affect anything to have this minute percentage. But they're on going the other way now into spirits and wines even, and I learned this, in Napa as well, going to wineries, they're allowed a certain percentage of flavoring additives.
I don't know about this.
Yeah.
I don't know about any of this.
Well, are you saying that you think this is not true, or you just don't?
Well,
really
I don't know. I don't know of any good wineries that are adding flavoring.
Well, they're
to wine.
certainly not telling you they're doing it.
Yeah,
but there are laws.
Phil's going deep on this one, Dan.
There are apparently laws that allow for some.
But sorry, Phil, I'm going to stop you.
Yeah.
You know people that manufacture, let's say, cookies or something like that. And they
That's
have to, in a good way, everybody has to pass a test.
That's right.
Right? So there is a test within reason.
To make cookies?
To make any product
anything you sell to the public.
Yes. When Dan Dunn goes into his local low rent supermarket, wherever you visit,
you're saying these Lay's Spanish tomato tango. Now this is all natural.
All natural, yeah.
This is pure Spanish tomato tango.
That particular bag of chips, I
got to try it.
Can I just Phil
Those
offered
are actually made in India.
Yeah, Phil
Can I
offered
open them?
Of course.
Phil offered really, really rare chips that you cannot get.
That's right.
Dan, it's turned very hostile here, and I feel like I have to step in.
Go ahead.
But these are if you want to clear your palate, let's say you're not doing a tasting of anything, you would put these on the table and go, hey, would you like to not taste anything the rest of the day?
Yes.
Why don't you try these chips from India
should I
where
not
there's no
try these?
regulations?
Well, taste it.
Taste it now.
Are they going to mess up
You
my
can't
tasting?
take out
They might.
All right, I'll do it anyway.
Dan's put one in his mouth. He's chewing. He's holding the bag.
Tasty, yes.
Spanish tomato tango.
Unavailable in the United States.
Right.
And it's 20, whatever that is. Rupees? Is that what that is?
I guess.
Oh, it could be anything.
It does taste tomatoey. I don't know that I would recommend it with the tequila, but I'll try.
Dan,
Not. And Dan is dead.
Oh, does
Welcome
anyone know the
to-
Try
Heimlich?
that again. Hold on.
Welcome to
Tequila tasting with
what we're drinking
Tom
with Phil
Caltabiano,
Rosenthal
yes.
and Tom Caltabiano. Yeah.
What we're puking up.
So let me just,
yeah.
for the audience sake, because I'm going to crunch this on camera.
I would not pair those with tequila. I don't think it's a good
It's
match.
just what I had around.
Yeah. No, but that's delicious.
But they are very nice.
Pass me that dump cup too.
Sure.
We're gonna keep moving on here.
By the way,
we gotta get Phil a little liquored up here. I think
not going to happen.
Don't worry. I've had
conspiracy
2
theories
sips
are
and
gonna-
I'm flying.
Pure
okay.
self-control. So Nosotros number 2, loved it.
Loved it.
Very delicious. All right, now we're gonna move on to our next one, which is over.
Here, let me get it.
Oh, Tom can get it. There we go.
There we go.
All right. El Tesoro.
Who sent
This
me
is going to
that?
be another añejo. El Tesoro de Don Felipe.
Yes.
What is it? What does it say?
This just in from the news front. Honey is added to the tequila after it's been distilled. This means the Don Julio tequila is technically a distilled agave product, not a honey tequila. Is that
the point is they're adding honey flavor.
They're adding
boy.
honey. Okay, I was not aware of this.
Phil, when they land on the moon, we are going to
Give me that back.
What will
that's
they
your
think
phone.
of
If I'm
next?
suddenly shot, I died with this.
yes.
All right. Now,
this doesn't mean I don't like it.
You love it.
It's delicious.
I just think it.
We're trying to get rules and parameters.
That's right.
All right. Now we're moving on to El Tesoro de Don Felipe. Oh, and by the way, the price on that one.
Yes.
The Nosotros Tequila Madera is $140.
Oh, but that makes sense.
That's too much.
Tom, take it out of your bag. Take it out of your bag, Tom.
By the way,
Tom's
I feel
already
bad.
stuffing it in his bag.
You know why I feel bad? Because technically Phil is the major star here. And the moment I see him, once he takes a liking to a product, I go, I will not be leaving this podcast with that product.
Yeah.
Because, no, Philip.
You can.
No.
You,
by the way, you
back here.
Welcome to the last time to Phil's.
Yes, the Don Felipe Tequila honors Don Felipe Camareño. You heard me mention that name earlier. He was the man who established the La Teña distillery in the highlands of Jalisco in 1937, which is where El Tesoro continues to be made today by his grandson, Carlos Camareño. You'll recognize that name. He also co-founded Tequila Ocho. So he makes El Tesoro. He's a legend. I mean, that's all there is to it.
El Tesoro, very famous.
Who would you say on the Mount Rushmore of food, Phil, would be like Eric Repair, or someone like that?
Rene Redzepi.
There you go. So that Carlos is that guy in the tequila world, and not much has changed. I mean, this is 100% estate grown agave.
Did you guys sip this already?
Yeah, we can try it. Yeah, get it.
Here we go.
They use overripe agave, so they're going to age it a little bit longer. This is, again, the Highlands are at 6,000 feet up. It's perfect for growing agave up there. And it gives it, again, that rounder, floral, fruity taste.
I'm getting lemony, peppery, a little
That's his
spicy.
personality.
Right?
Definitely that citrus.
Yes.
And then followed up by the spice right after
So
that.
nice.
They use a Tahona there. So you know what a Tahona wheel is?
I don't.
It's the old school, how they used to do this. It's basically a gigantic
and the mule.
volcanic stone pulled by a mule. I don't think they use a mule anymore, but they still still using a Tahona
if
there.
If you saw our Oaxaca episode, I actually saw this happen.
You did it, Philip.
Yeah.
If you watch, Somebody Feed Phil on Netflix, the Oaxaca episode, Phil, who just said, I don't know what that is, has also done that. He has been.
Yes.
He has.
I forgot that was the name of it.
Yeah.
That's
I'm not criticizing you. I'm saying you were at ground zero.
And I felt bad for the mule until they told me that mule is treated better than any of us who are people working.
I think that
mule works an hour a day and then has the life of Riley.
If he wasn't doing that,
you'd
be eating that right next to Tom's toucan. I'm sure.
They do not go well together. They do not go well together.
Can you eat mule?
If you're on a desert island and there's one mule and three of us, yes, you can eat mule.
What are we doing on this show today? We by the way, so everybody listening out there, I rarely eat mule or toucan.
This bottle of tequila is allowed 3% mule in it.
By the way, Dan, you have to accept that Phil did comedy professionally until he fell off the charts and had to become a star.
And had to go into the food world.
Yes. This is one of the last tequilas that still uses a Tahona wheel. I'll let you know that. They also, one of the other things they do is they distill this to proof. And they're one of the few people that do that. I'm not going to, I have to have a higher degree, like a chemical engineering degree to tell you, but they're not using water to get this down to proof. They're just through some hocus pocus that they do. They actually get it down to proof.
I'm very
through
suspicious.
Distillation. Yeah, well, of course you are. Yeah. There's no water or sugar added to this.
That they're both añejos. They're both pure agave, right?
Yeah.
How different these two things taste is amazing. This one tastes like a butterscotch, and that one tastes like a lemon.
I think that's the thing about tequila and agave spirits. Obviously, when you're talking about vodka.
And they're both made in the same place.
Same place.
Meaning the county of...
They're in the Highlands.
Tequila.
Yeah, they're in the Highlands, which is more towards Arandas.
But that's fantastic. That's, I mean, I love that about wine, too. How the earth literally makes a difference.
100%.
And the way you treat it, and the even the mule pulling the thing probably adds a little flavor.
By the way, I think the significance there is versus mezcal. You're limited by that donkey, volume. It's a weird move. You've now gone back to the 1800s in your quantity that you can produce, I assume.
Well, yes, it's gonna do that. And then the other thing about when we talk about proofing, for instance.
Yes.
Do you know why most spirits are 80 proof? Just
why they're 80 proof. By the way, Mexico, you buy it in Mexico, the proof is higher than what's allowed here.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? What's the difference?
They probably just different regulations down there.
No, but what's the proof difference?
Oh, well, the reason most 80 proof is basically the bottom, the floor.
Yeah.
And why so many spirits are 80 proof is just simple economics. They can get more out of it. Like they can stretch their, they're getting the more volume. Now you're seeing in higher end tequilas and mezcals and whiskeys and everything else, you're getting barrel strength, you're getting this. It costs more money, and they just pass it on to you.
So here's one of the tips of the show today.
Okay.
When you go to Mexico, bring some tequila home with you because it will be a higher proof, and I think the flavor will be a little better as well.
Okay. We're doing that. We're going to go down there.
Let's go.
Let's do it. $85 a bottle for this one.
Very reasonable.
Very reasonable. It's funny when you mentioned that other one. No butterscotch in this. What I'm getting here is vanilla, caramel, like I'm tasting the oak a little bit more in this one.
El Tesoro?
In the El Tesoro, yeah.
There's an initial thing, and that's what I always notice, and it's the dominant, whatever's the dominant thing. And for me, it's lemon.
Lemon.
For me.
That's
everybody's different.
Hit Phil's palate first was lemon.
When you taste food, which you do, you taste copious amounts of food on your show.
There's an initial thing, and then the best foods are complex. The best spirits are complex. So you have this initial hit, and then all the other words that you said are in the background for me.
Okay.
And suggested.
Is it for you? Or are you able to really sort everything on that first taste?
If I'm doing it, if I go to a distillery and I'm doing an actual tasting, first of all, I would do things a little bit differently.
Yes.
And I've talked about this before, where I prime I'm going to nose it. You want to keep your nose, you want to keep your mouth open when you're nosing it, get the juices flowing, and then I take a little sip to prime my palate, and then I take a bigger sip and I'll kind of chew it up a little bit, like get it all over my mouth.
You're gargling.
And then I'm able to, basically,
God.
kind of gargling.
Phil, you're not in this seat. I'm next to Dan.
But you're going to pick up different things on this side, on the side of your mouth, and different parts of your tongue.
Yes.
Detective. And that's what I was going to ask you about when you do food.
Never.
Are there
like a person?
Are there certain notes that always kind of stand out to you more than others when you're tasting food?
If something is really bitter, or taste what I think most Western palates would consider so foreign to them that and unpleasant, that if something is, or let's say, I'll even go so far as to say something has spoiled, which are delicacies in certain places.
My house.
That is the first thing you notice if something's off.
Like Tom's bread.
To you.
When Tom makes a bread, you
That's
usually
not
go,
nice.
That's
kidding.
hurtful.
Well, I wouldn't know because he keeps telling me he's going to bring it, and he never does.
Twice I've baked bread for him and missed it. Phil, only because you got a big laugh from I eat like a person, but if you,
I don't do. In other words, I don't do what he just did.
Right, annoy people,
swish it around your mouth so much for the purpose of science. I mean, he's literally, his job is to taste and rate. I don't eat that way. It's like when they rate television shows, they put a group of people who had nothing better to do on a Monday afternoon. They pay them $40 to go in a room and they give them a dial. When there's something you like, you turn that dial to the right. And when there's something you don't like, you turn it to the left, which could bring up the question, who watches TV this way? Nobody. Nobody is analyzing every second. And you know what happens? Someone enters that they recognize, they turn the dial to the right. Somebody enters that they've never seen before, they literally turn the dial to the left. When you get a laugh, it goes to the right. While the straight line, the setup is going on, they're turning it to the left. And then you get notes from the network. You should cut the setups.
It's crazy.
Phil, we should, as an addendum, we should say 2 shows that rated terribly in the testing that you just described.
Yes.
Everybody Loves Raymond and
Not
Seinfeld.
Terrible. We actually did better than Seinfeld in the testing.
Well, that show doesn't work at all.
Right.
Yes.
But Seinfeld tested very badly. We got it like in the 70s.
Yeah. Fantastically mediocre.
On a scale of like 100 would be the best.
1 billion. No, it's 100. Yeah.
But you can't. What Phil's describing and what I
Yes.
wanted to bring up is it takes the joy out of some. So when you say I tasted like a person, you are the everyman out there in the front versus the
I
super.
think every person who goes to buy anything just wants it to taste good to them, right? Meaning
Sure.
any food or drink. I'm buying it because it tastes good. Now, then you have a much smaller amount of the population that is buying stuff because it's good for them, right? But that's a tiny, minute...
Nerds, in other words, yeah.
Nerds and hippies, I would say. People who care about what they're putting in their bodies. My body is a temple. I don't put... my body is now a bus station. Everything comes in.
Everything's going.
Everything comes in.
I
pray for it to go out.
When I watch you on the show...
Yeah.
Wow, man. I mean, I've seen you eat some stuff. There was was it the lizard you ate the one time?
In Oaxaca. The
That's
Oaxaca.
actually
Yeah, that was the Oaxaca.
That's
Yeah.
literally the thing I put the brakes on. That was the one.
Yeah, I can
They
see
showed
in
it to
your
me,
face.
and I'm like, oh, look at the time.
Gotta go.
I have
Can we set it up a little, Phil? You're in
Sure.
Oaxaca. You're at a restaurant. You've eaten,
And all the food was gorgeous.
and they're so excited that
And
you're there.
I heard that I say to my partner at the table, I hear they have lizard here. They have iguana. And the chef overhears me saying it. Oh, you would like iguana? I go. She says, I have it right here. And it's sitting on the counter on the left. A blackened iguana with the tail and the body and the face. Like this. And I'm like, oh my God. And she goes, if you want that, it'll take a half an hour to prepare properly. I said, oh, look at the time. I literally said we don't have time. And she said, well, in that case, if you don't have time, how about this? And she hands me a bowl of moving, living beetles. And, I don't want to offend anybody.
Yeah.
But what flew out of my mouth at that moment was, oh, no. And she laughed, and, I got a hall pass. I didn't have to eat it. But I will say this. I'm always polite. If let's say the iguana was prepared, and she put it on a plate in front of me, I would have taken a bite out of it. I would have at least tasted it. And it probably, this is a cliche, tastes like chicken.
Have you ever gagged eating food on the show?
Yeah. One was the 1,000-year-old egg in Hong Kong.
Oh, I remember that. That was one of the earliest
That
episodes.
was on the PBS show.
Yeah, that's right.
That
was not even called Somebody Feed. It was called...
let's
I'll
kill
have what
Phil
Phil's
with
having.
this.
With this egg.
Yeah, let's...
No, it was even I was with Chinese people in Hong Kong, and one of the women wouldn't touch it. And I said, oh, come on. And I popped it in my mouth. The whole thing, the whole half an egg. And this egg is hard boiled, not by cooking it, but by burying it in lime and ash underground for months.
Oh,
That's how it hard boils. And then the white of the egg is a brownish orange, and the yolk of the egg is a bluish green. And I popped the whole thing in my mouth thinking, it's on the table. How bad could it be?
I'm gagging just
Turns
thinking
out,
about it.
the first thing you taste is very, very, very rotten egg. And then talk about a more complex flavor. That initial taste is surpassed almost immediately by the flavor and power of ammonia.
Oh, wow. How did you keep it? You didn't throw up though? You just gagged?
The bravest thing I've ever done is chew and swallow that egg without throwing up. Yes.
That's
amazing.
Did it.
So then, of course, afterwards I learned you're supposed to take a tiny sliver of it and add it to the hot pot with all these other things. Not eat an entire half an egg like an idiot, but I'm an idiot.
That's the first time I took Tom to sushi and he just ate the wasabi, like just took the whole thing. I've seen people do that where they're not
make a mistake.
Yeah. But Phil, your suffering, your ignorance is preventing a lot of people from going through that suffering of eating an entire 1,000-year egg.
If I could help just one idiot.
Yes.
That's it.
And I have to say, just going back to that iguana, if you watch the episode, people, go watch the Oaxaca episode because that thing looks like the thing that came out of the stomach on Alien.
Yes.
Only with a delicious char on it. It was so hideous.
I wouldn't know because I didn't try it.
But the looks of it was so bad.
But you know what? I think I could taste it. I do. I think that if she had prepared it, if I had the guts to do it, and if I went back, again, if it was served to me.
Yes.
Listen, I've eaten ants. on the show? Worms? Crickets?
Yeah,
You
knowingly.
just said
though.
you had some
I had
last
some
night.
crickets last night. Yeah.
They're crunchy little things you'd never know. Am I ordering this as my favorite thing on the menu? No.
Yeah.
But if it comes, yes, I'll try it.
Yeah. It's just as you know, a lot of food is presentation.
Yeah.
So if that tasted like a delicious ice cream,
Yes.
you still have to get past the horror film alien-like creature that is staring you in the eye.
By the way, those giant larvae, the white ones that
Oh.
are big and
Oh.
they're gonna pop like a cream puff in your mouth.
yeah.
I think I don't know if I could ever do that, and yet this is a delicacy in certain parts of the world.
I was
Like
in Borneo.
The bigger and juicier, the greater a luxury it is.
Oh.
I was in Borneo
Yeah.
years ago. Do you remember the Eco Challenge, the adventure race?
Sure.
So I went over there.
Started
This
the
is-
X Games.
This was back in like 2000. And the after party, this was Mark Burnett's first show, actually.
Yeah.
Before his friend. So
Before
at the after
Survivor?
party, yeah. Well, right around the same time as well, yes, Eco Challenge was his first show. But I was there when Survivor, the first season of Survivor was actually airing here in the States.
Yeah.
The finale, I was over there. But at the after party, they did something that's local delicacy in Borneo, which is a fairly, wild place. And it was giant grubs. And I mean giant, like the size of, a big guy's
Grubs,
toe.
That's what it is.
Black grubs that were in the dirt, and they're alive.
Yeah.
And you reach in, and it's a traditional thing. And you reach in and you pull it out and you hold it by the head
Yeah.
and you bite the body off and it's live in your mouth and it's squishy and gooey and the thing's still moving when you bite it and you swallow it. Here's the lesson though.
Yes.
With enough alcohol in me,
Yes.
I'm guessing there's probably nothing I wouldn't eat because I ate
You did it.
did it. I did it about 20 times.
Oh.
I ate about 20 of them. I just kept going.
Wait a minute.
I kept going, give me
Okay,
another
So I
one.
have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Oh,
First
boy.
of all, how drunk were you?
Well, it's not a famous picture to anybody but my friends, but somebody took a Polaroid of us and we were all wearing sarongs, right? Like we all had them on. And I was with some friends. And
So
I had,
pretty drunk is the
and I had
answer.
I was doing sort of a Captain Morgan pose with my sarong with my
Yes.
buddy. So I'm
Okay.
going to leave it to your imagination.
We're already there.
What
Dan.
was visible in that photo?
Your
with the
personal
sarong?
grub? Your personal
I remember
grub
like
was
getting
hanging
the
out.
picture. I'm like, this is a great picture. We're all tan and we're
Yeah.
like dressed and then I'm looking, I go, what the hell? And then I look at, are those my balls? I'm like, like I was showing the picture to everybody. And then I realized my balls are hanging out.
I
in this
actually don't
picture.
know what the most disgusting part of this story is.
The grubs are my balls.
Yes.
Or his
Yeah.
taste to bring it up.
Okay, so then the second question.
Yeah.
How do you remember how it tasted?
I don't
And I'm
remember
talking
I don't
about the
remember
grubs, ladies
I don't
and
remember the
gentlemen.
taste. What I remember is the
Texture.
texture of it and the experience of it moving around
Oh.
because it didn't die
So
right
I
away. It
have
was like a
done-
snake.
I have done this with live shrimp,
Oh.
where it's still moving, but it does taste like shrimp. It's not like, like sweet shrimp. It's not, the only part that you have to get over is that it twitches a tiny bit.
Yeah, I don't
in your
honestly,
mouth.
I don't remember it tasting bad. I
Well,
don't.
that's already
A step up.
something.
Yeah.
But the idea of it is so horrific to me.
Yeah.
Because of our upbringing.
It
If
looked
we
like a
grew
roach.
up in a place where this was normal, that's the thing about travel. You're going to places and you're learning what they do. And I do want to eat what they eat. But you can't help where you're from. And you can't help the ideas that are embedded in your head, right?
Yeah.
From your entire life. So I never feel like offended or want them to be offended. It's just how we were raised. They understand. And I would understand if you came here and said, potato chips, who could possibly eat potato chips, right?
Yeah, it's
But
like
we-
if you went to Coney Island and
Yes.
someone put ketchup on a hot dog, you'd be like, "What the hell are you doing?" Why'd you
Well,
do it? Or no?
that's the biggest sin in the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah,
This
I
show
mean-
is over, Dan.
Yeah,
You've crossed the
when
line.
I see it, it does bother me. I will say this: the one thing I do, being from Philly, and we love pizza, being from the
Yes.
East Coast, I will do this: leftover pizza the next day, I reheat it and I put yellow mustard on the pizza. Have you ever done it?
Never heard of that.
It's
That's
so good.
interesting.
Yellow on just
know what?
cheese or pepperoni
I
pizza.
think
Yellow
that
mustard.
makes sense to me.
It does.
I just recently saw a thing where ketchup is 1/3 sugar.
Ugh.
1/3, and they poured it out.
And the
Like
rest
if
is
you were
rat
gonna
hair.
like if you took a tablespoon of sugar and filled up a third of a ketchup bottle with it, that is literally what you're eating.
That's so bad.
Right?
What about the organic ketchup where it's low sugar? I mean,
it says unsweetened.
Right.
It doesn't
There's
taste
no
as
sugar.
good.
And by the way, you don't want your fries in that or your
Yeah.
burger in that.
Yeah.
Burgers and fries need ketchup. Why? Because we were raised that way.
That's right.
When chefs do a sauce that makes you forget that you need ketchup, great. All the power to them. I still would like a little ketchup. But I get it. That's the thing to go for. And for me, you put ketchup on a hot dog, you're I'm not going to say you're a child, but you want something overly sweet.
I don't get it. Like a hot dog is
Mustard
begging
on a hot
for
dog
mustard.
no, it's just, and again, it's personal taste and how we were raised. I love mustard and sauerkraut on a hot dog and onions.
Me too.
It's a classic.
I'm with you on that.
I also love the Chicago dog, which is the tomatoes on it and a pickle on it. They're all savory things. And hot peppers sometimes, sport peppers.
Yeah.
On that beautiful, soft-seeded roll. That's a Chicago dog is maybe the greatest. But then I've been to Copenhagen and had their hot dogs, their street hot dogs. They have like a remoulade on there, which is almost mayo-based and mustard. But they're not doing ketchup, I don't think.
By the way, can we just stop? Two things. When you said you're used to it in our society, let's say, the idea of eating a lobster, if you weren't used to eating lobster, looks hideous, right?
Of course.
A lobster itself is
a bug of the sea.
Yeah, a bug of the sea. So we're grossed out by him eating his grubs and other things.
Yes.
But the lobster is like a delicacy. And then, so the Chicago hot. So I know a guy from Chicago, and I asked him, where can you get a good Chicago dog in Los Angeles?
Yes, they do have.
So he said, I don't know. And I said, oh, I thought since you're from Chicago, you might know.
Yes.
You know, give me a little snark. So I found a place where, but for those of you that are listening in the valley who have never had, I'm not going to promote the place because I can't remember the name.
Oh,
it's a chili place. Yeah, we'll look it up. Someone will look it up.
Let's go there when we go for lunch. Let's do that.
I would go there. But I'm just bringing it up. I never had a Chicago hot dog until I went to Chicago. And I go, this is the world's greatest thing. I could not believe it.
Right.
And you and I have never discussed that.
Nope.
I found out about cow soy soup from watching your Instagram feed, and it was a mile from my house.
Yeah.
So if I can find a good Chicago style hot dog for anybody listening, it's phenomenal.
So when people ask me about Philly cheesesteaks, I go, where do you find a good Philly cheesesteak in Los Angeles? I go, nowhere.
Oh, no. I can
Honestly.
take
you know a place?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it that place Booze? Because I've heard that. Booze.
That happens to be excellent. Yeah. There's a few other places that do it. There's Wee Melrose does it. And if you want a bougie one, at Matu Steakhouse, they do it at the bar, and they do it for lunch. And it's a gourmet Wagyu grass-fed beef Philly cheesesteak.
Here's my thing.
Wow.
I think, and it's the same thing with New York pizza. I think the thing that makes a Philly cheesesteak, a real Philly, is the bread. And Amoroso rolls are pretty much what everybody uses in Philly. It's the same thing with New York pizza. I think it's the water in New York impacts the flavor of the crust. The water they're using, that New York tap water they're using, makes that crust unique.
I think Nancy Silverton would argue that the water in New York is a variable, meaning it's not all the same at every tap, and no matter where you are on Earth, and even the difference between where I live and, let's say, where Mozza is, where she makes her pizza, the air, the temperature, the all these things. A baker is a scientist. They have to allow for the differentials in air pressure, humidity, altitude. Everything factors in. You make bread, so you know this. And so you must adjust to get it. So I think the water, the New York water, is slightly overrated in terms of how much it impacts your pizza. Don't forget, there's two other factors in a pizza: sauce and cheese. And they are very important. You know a great piece of pizza the moment it touches your mouth. You know, like we're talking about the initial thing about the spirits, right? That initial taste, that initial texture in food. Taste, texture, right? And that third thing that we don't know what that is, that magical quality in food and beverages, right? There are variables, and there's also, your tongue is different than my tongue.
That's true. Yeah.
There's that too. But all these things, when you taste a steak, that first bite of steak, you know whether this is one of the best ones you ever had or this stinks. You know immediately. I actually love that. I do think that first taste. Now, I wouldn't be so stupid as to judge something from one taste only. There are those shows.
I want to do a PSA real quick, by the way, while we're talking about pizza. Do not put pineapple on your pizza. That's all I'm saying. I think we can all agree. Pineapple?
Some people like it. I'm never going to piss on it.
That's true.
I think it's, and if you want to put ketchup on your hot dog, that's fine too. It's just, for me, it makes it too sweet.
I'll bring that up.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Years ago, before I was in this game, and one of the very first times I ever tasted anything, it was a Booker No. Booker No is the great-grandson of Jim Beam. Yeah. Booker's bourbon. We all know the late Booker's gone now, but this is a long time ago. And we did a tasting, and I didn't know anything about anything. Yeah. And I asked him, I said, would it be sacrilege to put this great Booker's bourbon, put Coke in it? You know, he said, no. He said, I'll never tell anybody
not to do anything.
How to drink. Yeah. You drink it any way you want to drink it.
Yes.
He said, and don't let anybody tell you different. He said, my mom used to drink it with ginger ale, and she loved it with ginger ale, and she put this, and he said,
just because you wouldn't do
any
it.
way you enjoy it, you drink it. He goes, all I care about is you're buying it.
That's funny.
Joking around.
But it is, I mean, certain things I would imagine, if you cook a steak and you've gone out of your way to source this meat and you've cooked it at perfect medium rare, and a guy goes, burn it. I want it so well done that and it's like, oh my God, you're killing this beautiful thing. Listen, is the customer always right? I mean, this is a discussion. I don't know. That's true. That you can ruin something, and the chef may say, I want to save this gorgeous, valuable thing for someone who appreciates it.
That's the different thing. Is it the opportunity cost of you've wasted this steak? So you have some schmuck who doesn't have a good palate. Why waste that? That's more the question.
That's a judgment.
Why are you gesturing at me?
Yeah, right.
No, I was touching you because
that's a judgment.
When I said schmuck,
right?
I'm not a schmuck.
Should you? I'm going to say, as much as it pains me, I think the customer gets to have the steak the way he wants it. If he's buying it and he wants it burned beyond recognition, I don't know that the chef has I guess he has a right not to serve. We refuse to serve anyone, right?
Yes.
Well, you mentioned ketchup earlier.
Yes.
We talked about ketchup famously here. What's it? The burger place. We will not have ketchup in the corner. Father's office.
Yeah.
No ketchup. Because he doesn't think it belongs in it. Now, people would bring ketchup. I've seen people bring little bottles of ketchup with them to Father's office to put on their burger and their fries. But he had a thing against ketchup. He thought it ruined the burger, and he would never allow it.
That you talk about Nozawa, for example, who was a purist who loved his customers, but if somebody asked for the wrong thing on his sushi, he would ask them to leave. Right. And so at what point...
that guy, Sugarfish.
Yes.
Where they tell you on the menu how you're supposed to eat it and what it's supposed to do.
Let's say you go to an art exhibition and you've paid to see the art and you wear sunglasses the whole time. The artist, what is he going to say?
Nothing.
Tinted.
You're not seeing it the way I meant it to be seen. Take off your sunglasses.
Or if you went in and you're like, you know what? I think Mona Lisa should have a mustache.
Could use
well,
a little
that I can't
that's,
do because then
you're altering
it for everyone else.
Then yes,
but if you,
that's no good.
But if you are wearing something over your eyes, literally, that changes how the painting is supposed to look. I understand the artist saying you're not giving it a fair shot, but at the same time, you can't say to the guy, you can't force him to take his sunglasses off.
If he's a critic, you have problems with him because if he's wearing blue sunglasses and
then he writes,
yes,
I hate that painting.
It's so blue. It
that's right.
Exhausted me.
By the way, we've gone so far off track here, but
it's actually all related.
Yeah, but recently,
anything to get off of his testicles.
Well, like music shows, and I'm not talking about people throwing things at people on stage, but recently, I forget, it was maybe Miranda Lambert or somebody. She stopped her show because women in the front row were taking selfies of themselves during her show, and she stopped and said, I'm trying to perform. Now, you could argue, well, they paid for the front row tickets and they want to take selfies.
I'm with her.
I'm with her too.
Because they are distracting her from doing, and they are pretending that she's not right in front of them.
I'm with you.
That's it. You can't perform if somebody's openly insulting you that way.
By the way, Keith Jarrett, notoriously making noise in the audience, stops playing.
Oh yeah, but he also one of the greatest artists of all time.
Yes, piano player.
Maybe a touch sensitive.
Well, I think we should have more drinking, and then we could really start bitching.
Oh
about
wait,
stuff.
we're drinking.
So now we're moving
The
on.
only reason I'm talking this way is because I've been
Because
drinking.
there it is.
Yeah.
Well, now we're going to move out of tequila onto the other agave-based
Mezcal.
spirit, which is mezcal. I love me some mezcal.
All tequila is mezcal.
All tequila is mezcal, but not all.
Mezcal is tequila.
Not all mezcal.
Now,
is tequila.
what one I like seeing Phil.
This is a
animated.
good look, and I knew you were going to like that bottle, Tom. I know aesthetically.
Well, let's describe for the
It's
most.
called Hedonistas de la Fe is the name of the brand, and we are doing an Espadin, which is the type of mezcal.
That
agave.
is very strong.
And this is a small batch premium mezcal, kind of new, but made by fourth generation mezcaleros. Some of the most refined, nuanced mezcal on the market. I discovered this at a dinner at Spago.
Really?
Probably about a year ago.
They
I got
had
invited
this.
to a dinner, and they hosted a dinner there with this.
They hosted,
and
yeah.
it paired so well with the food. And I was like, this is this is a small batch. Like I said, small batch.
This is something that I would want with food. This is something that I would want in mixed a little bit, because this one is very, very strong to me.
To you, what does it say? What does it say on there? The alcohol by volume.
The alcohol.
I don't think it's just the alcohol.
So these plants,
46% alcohol. So what is that? 92
proof.
So that's heavy duty.
That's
And,
heavy for Phil. Phil's laying down
Good night,
already, by the way.
6 to 8
Yes.
years on the plant maturation for this one. It's 100% agave angustifolio. That's the genus of the agave that they're using here. This is I think it's very well balanced. I'm getting a briny note right away. Are you getting that? And then the sort of the gentle
I don't
smoke.
know, because I'm unconscious.
I thought you'd get the pepper right away, because you're usually picking that up. And then
it's very strong.
really, you feel like because it's mezcal. We just went
you're
from
a
tequila.
professional.
Yeah, I
am not a professional. This is. Do you feel this?
Yeah, yeah, but I just want to go back and say I love the bottle. What is the image of on there?
Dead man.
It looks like a skull with agave leaves on the
coming
top
out
of
of
it. Yes,
I love this bottle.
The man's been dead for a long time, and they planted agave on him.
It's I get a little grapefruit in here. I had this the other night in a Negroni, in a mezcal Negroni.
Oh, that must be good.
It was so good. I mean, it was
again. I would mix this because it is such a powerful thing.
Do you find it power? Like I don't. For some reason, I'm not getting that. But
I'm chewing it.
you're chewing it up. Let's do it. Let me do that. Again, I don't have Phil's tongue. It certainly has more heat to it, a little more heat on it, I think, than what we've had earlier. But I think you're going to find that with the rest of what we try.
It's going to be powerful.
Phil, strap in. This is like the end of the hot wings thing where they're like going, you're going to be crying by the end of this.
No, there's a reason I structured this the way we did it. Is we started with tequila because I knew we were going to have more heat when we got to mezcal.
I've had subtler mezcal in my life.
Yeah, I mean, and it just depends on how you like it.
I do love this.
Yeah.
My initial thing, Phil, wouldn't be like, sweet bastard, is this strong? It's so Phil's description.
It's strong in comparison to what we've had.
Well, that's what Dan's saying, that he actually knows what he's doing by lining it up and setting you up for the next level.
To bring,
Tell me more about this, Dan.
So they obviously hand harvest agave. They toast it in stone-lined earthen mounds. You know what they do with it? You know how they do this, Phil? They put the agave and they cook it underground. That's how they're doing the mezcal.
Oaxaca episode.
Being down in Oaxaca,
you can see it.
You did that.
By the way, you can watch. Can we just stop for 1 second? Yeah. If you want to watch a man and find out why he thinks this is so strong, watch the Oaxacan episode. Watch him taking is it piña? What are they called?
Piñas.
No.
Piñas.
No, the piñas.
Yeah.
So Phil is putting them onto the fire, and I'm not saying total failure.
Phil put
the piña
throwing these
giant.
boulders.
I'm trying to think of a joke. It's coming somewhere. Piña.
Get
fire,
back to us.
Phil,
Go.
Okay.
Throwing them on the fire that starts the roast.
So to describe,
I watched that episode. I saw it. That's the one with the lizard.
Yeah. And they need you to make sure the white side is down, right? Everything you did was wrong.
But there are people who can toss these boulders and make them land the correct way onto the...
Right. And those people don't cry and go to sleep at this mezcal. those people are men, Philip. And I think now is the time.
This is where you gotta tough up here. You gotta be like,
I just think.
All right, next.
This is you and I walk into a bar down there. We walk into a bar and we go,
in my house.
throw the bottle up, leave the bottle. That's one of those. You go leave the bottle. Which, personally, I think this is the best looking bottle I think that we've had so far.
Here, dump that there, Philip.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, now we're going to move on from that one.
Can't.
Tell me the name again, because Phil's getting liquored up again.
I'm not saying this is bad in any way. I'm just saying I can't.
Yeah. Oh boy. We have to.
Well, we'll see what happens now with the next. I'm excited for you to try the next one now,
he's going
based on what just happened there, because this is not for the faint of heart, Phil. Tom, can you reach over there to the red bottle?
But Phil, you would like this in a drink, and you would like this. So. Yeah.
64.
Like I love a Mezcal Paloma. You ever have that?
Oh, 100%. Nice? And this would be great in a Paloma.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'm going to make you, Phil.
I'm already getting grapefruit notes on this too.
Yes.
Which you're getting $64.99 a bottle for this. So, and now we're going to move on to
Hedonistas. What is this called?
Hedonistas.
De
La Fe.
We'll make Phil a drink.
Two more.
Boy, this is where Phil. We're losing Phil. We are losing Phil.
I have things to do.
All right, Mezcal
It's
Vago.
a show to do, but when you have things to do
Ensamble.
After.
Okay, so Vago is like the next one we're going to do, Del Maguey, the final one, is they contract out with mezcaleros, mezcal producers down in Oaxaca, which is where, and they import them to the United States. That's what Vago does. This one is a guy named Tio Ray. Tio means uncle, and his name's Solomon Ray Rodriguez. His lineage of mezcaleros goes back thousands of years. That's how long his family's been making mezcal.
Beautiful bottle.
It's located in a very famous mezcal region called Sola de Vega. This is probably the most famous spot in the world for Tobola mezcal.
Yeah.
And they distill almost exclusively in clay pots down there. Okay.
Nice.
So he does about 15 different varieties of agave. He cultivates Espadin, Coyote, Tobola, Sierra Negra. So give you an idea, Phil, about how long it takes to harvest this stuff.
Yep.
Espadin that they're using down there in Sola de Vega, about 7 to 9 years in the ground. Sierra Negra, that 15 to 20 years.
This
Tobola, 8 to 15 years.
Growth of the plant.
Just the plant itself.
So you have to be, I mean, winemaking is nothing next to that.
It's a long, and this process that they do for the ensemble, which is a very laborious, time-consuming process. The stills are made of you've seen it when you're down there. They got 2 pots over a fire.
Yep.
Okay, the one below is where they're going to hold the mash, and it's got an open top that goes up. The way that they do it down here, and they have water coming through that chills the pot on top, which turns the vapor back into liquid.
Right.
Which they have an agave leaf and it runs down the agave leaf into a reed that takes it into the pot where it's collected.
Everything affects the flavor.
But it's such a cool looking. You've seen it when you were down there.
Beautiful.
Into the collection container. His Palenque, which is the distillery down there, it's on a hill near a mountain spring. The water quality is supposed to be the best in Mexico for this. So let's try this one. Oh man. But see, the heat's on it. Look, if I'm looking at Phil, look at him. Is mezcal like? I think you're more tequila guy.
A bridge too far?
Is mezcal?
Phil?
No, these just happen to be very alcohol forward for me.
But I don't think. What's the alcohol content in that, Tom? Let's see. Oh, 52.5. Okay, so there's 105 proof.
Hello.
This is 49.7. 49.7. This one.
Oh, on that one. 49.7.
Yeah, 49.7.
Okay.
Higher.
$100 a bottle. This is the thing that mezcal nerds geek out on. Like Vago is one of those brands.
I get it.
It's just like whatever they're doing.
Yeah,
they're in.
This for me personally, the flavor on this. I mean, you're definitely getting the heat, but I get the fruit on that, some salt, a little bit of like aged cheese.
Yeah.
Flavor. Do you not get molasses?
I get
honey?
it. Yeah, all these words. Yes.
All these words.
under a gigantic amount of booze.
I think we hit the limit with Phil. Then we know.
I'm ready for the last
No,
one.
you're still good. You're still good. I'm just saying.
I want to just continue to do these episodes now. I just want to do a tequila and mezcal episode.
If you give Phil shots up front,
you can. It's really fun to taste stuff. This is, and what I love about doing the show with you is you're exposing me to stuff that, you know, how often do you literally get to taste many things without out now buying the bottle to try them? Most people don't send you a sample.
No.
You know, to try. So this show is a public service.
You know what? Not all heroes wear capes, Phil. That's what they say. That's all I'm saying. Although I would wear a cape.
You wear a little dress with your things hanging out.
Yes.
By the way,
you could.
I dressed up for this.
Oh, yeah?
I wore like a button-up shirt.
I just thought pants.
Phil's in,
nice.
you know, his
Phil's full casual.
But by the way,
it's 98 degrees outside.
This is how by the way, we should say in appreciation of tequila and mezcal, it is blistering hot outside in Los Angeles. It is Mexican type of heat.
It is very hot.
We are in a nice air-conditioned room and living the life of Riley, getting to try 6 or 7 different beautiful spirits. They're all beautiful.
By the way,
this is my personal tolerance that we're talking about.
By the way, and off of that, Phil, just to make it for these people that are listening, this one is delicious. The Hedonistas was delicious, but Phil, we find out for his palate. So if you're going to give him a gift and you go, do we go with Phil tequila? And you go, just give him tequila. Like,
there are certain mezcal when I find them.
Yes.
Wow. I love them because they're not like this is pejorative and I don't mean to impugn any of these because I don't really feel that way about these. They're strong, but they're not. For me, the thing I try to avoid in mezcal is when it tastes like I'm drinking out of an ashtray.
Oh, that's what you avoid.
When they're very
smoky.
Yes.
That these are not that.
These are delicious.
These have a lot of flavor, but they also are very, very potent. Be careful, people. Is what I'm saying.
I'm not getting that.
Yeah, I'm not getting that either, Phil. And
really?
by the way, I'm not. So yes, more than tequila, but I'm not tasting this, the Hedonistas, and going, whoa. I'm just saying, okay, a little Jerry Lewis there.
Well, let's bring this home. This is
that was Jackie Gleason.
Our sixth and final spirit of the day.
It's good coffee.
Del Maguey.
Del
Maguey Single Village Mezcal Chichicapa. That's what this one is called.
That's what Monica calls me.
Oh.
Chichicapa. This Del Maguey was founded in 1995. My old pal Ron Cooper. Ron is an artist, famous artist from Southern California, and he used to go down to Mexico all the time. He fell in love with mezcal and started bringing it back up in gas cans and bringing it. And then he realized
that's the flavor.
There was no mezcal
unleaded
really commercially available in the United States, and Ron started bringing it up.
What year are we talking?
1995.
And Del Maguey has many, many varietals, right?
They work with different mezcaleros down there. So this particular one is the Chichicapa is made in Oaxaca. Obviously, the region is called the Central Valley. The Maguey, they're using Espadin. That's the type of agave that they're using here. The village is called San Baltazar Chichicapa, hence the name. And they're aging this in some wood here. They've got, they ferment for about 6 to 8 days. They're using well water and they still it in a copper still. So 48% ABV. So what's that, Tom? Math. 96
48%.
96
proof.
Let's get the nose.
Here we go,
on
Philip.
this.
Cheers.
Chichicapa.
I didn't know how many times Dan was going to say it, but 12 seemed to be the limit.
There we go.
Lighter on the nose than the others.
Phil, he's smiling there already. Look, he's getting it.
I think he passed out.
Uh-oh.
That's my favorite of the 3.
That's your favorite. Okay.
It's still because what happens is does this happen to you? You feel a prickliness on your tongue from the alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't think you're supposed to add water the way you do scotch to open it up a little bit.
You could.
Let me try it.
Yeah, put a little water in there. I mean, why I think you like this, Phil, is the dominant note that I got right off the bat was citrus, like lemony citrus.
Yes.
And I know you've picked that up in some of the stuff that we had earlier that you really enjoyed.
Well, El Tesoro tequila has that lemony quality, but the other one, Nosotros, does not. And I think of everything we've tried today, we've been through them all. My winner today is Nosotros.
Nosotros. Okay. Yeah. It's delightful. And this one, also some mint. You getting that a little bit? It's the first one that I've had with some mint on it.
Do you find when you're doing these tastings and someone else is telling you the notes, that it's the power of suggestion. And I do taste the piano.
100. I mean, I wrote a piece about this years ago when I wrote for Playboy about how to kill it at wine tastings.
Yeah.
And what I found is if you say the most obscure thing, no one wants to be wrong.
That's right.
So they'll go,
yeah.
It's
it does taste like a carpet.
Yes, it's I'm picking up like it's Liberace's jacket soaked in.
Okay, so I put just a drop of water in there,
Opened
and
it up?
smoothed it out. It didn't. I'm not saying that it added more flavor, but it took away the kind of spicy feeling on your tongue from alcohol.
Because you're proofing it down. You're literally doing what you're taking down.
I mean,
what they do.
I put a tiny amount of water.
Just a drop. Phil.
So when things are too alcohol-y, and we know what those are, add a tiny bit of water.
You're talking about Tom, right?
Phil.
Yes.
Ouch.
Tom.
Do that one now with
So now,
water?
see what that is. I added a decent amount of water. Let's just see if it changes. It was a quick.
Yes. The other thing that you could do is put it on the rocks.
One ice cube.
Which you wouldn't do.
So that was the
necessarily,
Hedonistas with one little splash of water.
I like it.
And so
better.
so your palate.
That's for me.
Well, you need to get rid of alcohol.
I don't need to get rid of it, but when it starts, it's almost
prickly.
a distraction for me from the flavors underneath. I have to first get over, the alcohol burn literally on my tongue. I think you've been doing this so long that you are inured to that sensation.
I'll tell you this. We were talking earlier about Scotland. I don't know if we were talking about it on the show or before the show, but Dave Stewart, the oldest living, well, I guess it make me dumb to say that, the oldest distiller in Scotland.
Yes.
Whenever he tastes, he puts water in. Because
even
the more water you put in, the more you're able to identify, because you're taking that alcohol burn, you're bringing it down.
Yes.
And it allows you to be able to identify the nuances of what you're tasting. Alcohol can overpower, especially when we're talking about 100, 100 proof. That's strong. And the more water you put in, the more you're able to go, now I'm getting stuff I never tasted.
So when you get something, let's say a Scotch at cask strength, which we used to get at the
Scott Malt Whiskey Society.
They're saying to you bring it down to the level you like.
Absolutely. I do that. I mean, especially when you're getting into these beasts that are like 125 proof. I mean, I was just tasting some Wild Turkey, one of their new, the Master's Keep thing that they have they put out every year. They put out a new expression. And I think that thing was like weighed in at like 124 proof.
Yeah.
That's a lot of alcohol.
But some people,
and no matter
some people love the very thing that I'm not crazy about.
They do.
The thing you're running away from. Phil, I'm going to remind you, bringing back to the very, very beginning, and you made a point of it, which is we would taste Scotch at the end of filming. Everybody's Raymond.
Listen, I worked on shows where they didn't wait till the end.
Well, I'm saying it for that reason, where you made it clear to us, like, not that anybody wanted to drink during the show. Well, I think you wanted to drink a few times.
There's a couple of moments when
you're like, I need a drink. Can somebody get Phil some high proof mezcal?
Like if you're watching a taping and the audience just isn't responding the way, you're like, oh, geez.
That never happened.
That never. Boy, wow! I've never seen Phil so angry.
Somebody else's show. I meant.
No, can I tell you? Can I tell you on the inside? The only time I saw Phil angry, which is not really sorry, in the annals. Let me pronounce that correctly. I meant anal. Of showrunners, there's a lot of people, showrunners, the head of a show, who have horrific tempers, right? And it's like, you're all fired. I don't want to see your faces again. Phil was not that. The only time you saw Phil frustrated was when he had the show, which is a hit show, and he'd go, can we do this one little special effect where a bunch of oranges fall down from a fruit stand? Sure, Phil, we got it. Top people in the industry, you're a top-rated show. So we come to a run-through, and all we hear is in a supermarket, a big pyramid of oranges, and all of a sudden, oranges come up, and then a wooden paddle goes and is slapping like a fan the inside of this board, and then like 2 oranges fall off. And Phil's like, do you think we'll have it better on show night in front of the 200 live people?
And America?
Yes, in America. Or Phil would go, okay, for this gag, Ray gets hit in the face with ice cream. Perfect. We only have one chance to do that live in front of the audience, okay? So now you have 200 people watching monitors, and for this gag surprise, you just see the monitor and everyone's looking, and instead of the switcher who controls what the audience sees, instead of showing just an isolated shot of Ray Romano about to get hit, they cut to a camera which shows the person holding off camera a thing of ice cream in their hand, the prop person. So now the audience goes, that person is not only not in the show, they're holding ice cream. I wonder what's about to happen. I'm very confused now. Oh, Ray got hit by the prop. Are they angry? So that's when you would see Phil go, he would drop his head in anger, not screaming or anything, just exasperation, I would say.
You know what I needed at those moments?
Yes.
This collection of mezcal.
You could have, would have eased your pain a little bit.
Because right now you could chop off my leg and I'd be fine.
If we had a drink cart that could race in front of Phil before these terrible, tragic events, I think everyone in his life
Speaking of
would
drink
be better.
cart, I will give a little plug. My friend came and dropped off the Del Maguey that we're drinking right now, and we went yesterday to Casablanca, which if you're in the Los Angeles area, you come. It's the only Mexican restaurant that I know of that's themed after a movie set in North Africa.
Oh, Casablanca.
Casablanca. Have you ever been if you have to come.
In Venice. It's down in Venice?
It's on the corner of Lincoln and Rose in Venice. It's been there for 50 years. It's called Casablanca. When you walk in, everything, there's a case with a wax figure of Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca. All of the walls are painted with scenes from Casablanca.
And it's not a Moroccan restaurant.
There's an old woman making tortillas. The whole time you're there, she's in the middle of the just making tortillas, and then they'll have a guy playing a guitar, a woman playing guitar, and they're just playing Hotel California and like classic. But they have a cart. They have a margarita cart that they push around, and it comes up to the table and go, like a margarita? Yes, I would. How would you like it? Spicy? This, that? Yep, yeah. And we start, and they make it right at your table, and they give it to you. Casablanca.
And
couldn't recommend it.
You love the food.
They say, everybody says world famous. It says world famous calamari. This calamari really should be. It's flat, lightly breaded, and then you can get it with shrimp on it. You can get it with crab meat and some sauces on there. It's the greatest calamari you'll ever have.
I'm very hungry
Casablanca. We have to go. We're going to do it.
Traditional.
Before I forget, Tom, the Del Maguey Chichicapa is $80 a bottle. So if we add up everything that we drank today,
yes, sir,
we could sell it.
Yes, and
probably afford to pay for our dinner at Casablanca.
Oh, I would do the traditional Moroccan margaritas and
it's tortillas. So weird. One time I asked one of the servers, he had no idea.
Casablanca is Mexican.
That's true. Yeah,
white is that? But they've owned the movie in this place.
The entire
not Mexico.
Thematically, the entire restaurant is
set
what's
Morocco.
The guy's name?
Rick.
The not him, but the guy that had the hat, the officer. When you go to the bathroom, there's a giant painting of him right outside the bathroom. Claude Rains. That's it, Claude Rains. And
what a beautiful movie.
It's so cool.
Such a perfect.
By the way, can I tell you a story?
Yeah.
I was at a screenwriter, Robert McKee.
Yeah.
You know, the entire thing.
Yeah.
I'm at a class there, 3-day intensive class. The very last like 5 hours is analyzing Casablanca, scene by scene by scene, everything that went in there, and the guy McKee, who's a really tough guy, gives a thing. May your life go on, in peace and love, like in love. Because this is a love fest. This Casablanca is a phenomenal movie in every way. Right? I get in my car and my horn. Sorry, something's dysfunctional with my horn, so it's going off randomly, right? So within 3 minutes of like, may your life be filled, with this thing, I'm driving and my horn's going off, and someone's just like, "Fuck you, asshole!" And I'm like, "Okay, we're back in society. I'm right back into it."
You want to live? That's why movies exist. You want to?
Escape.
To live there.
That's it. By the way, very quick thing before we go. Last night I'm in bed.
Oh boy.
About 3 a.m.
Wearing a sarong.
I hear a noise, like something like music. And I go, "What the hell?" And I get up and I'm like, "Jesus Christ!" And I get
your baseball bat
next to my bed.
Phillies
I get the bat,
Mike Schmidt bat.
I walk out into my living room. My TV was on. It just came on. It was off. It came on.
Yeah.
How? Why?
I don't know. And I'm like, what the hell?
There's a ghost.
No, so I'm like looking around like, did someone break in and try to watch TV?
Yeah.
No, I don't have any idea. It just went on in the middle of the night, and it was kind of on loud, and I'm like, and I turned it off.
Yeah.
There we go. On
Very
that note,
interesting.
this is the kind of entertainment you get here on What We're Drinking with Dan Dunn. I want to ask you, Phil, anything you got? You want to plug here? Anything you want to pro? When's Somebody Feed Phil next season?
I can't tell you. You got to call the people.
You can't do it. You cannot talk about it.
Literally can't talk about it. Literally don't want to talk about, any streaming service or studio.
That's right.
While they're on strike.
It doesn't. That's right. Damn it.
My show is a docuseries, so wasn't really affected by the strike. But I've been a writer. I still am a writer, and I've even done some acting parts on things. And this is not about, not to change the subject completely, but this strike, for people who listen to this show, may not all be actors and writers, and just the general public. They think, the actors and writers have a problem. No, this is now because the studios have been pretty much taken over by giant corporations. This is corporate America versus the worker. So you're hearing about this only because it's show business. But believe me, this is an issue in every aspect of life in our world.
Absolutely.
And, you should support all the actors and writers who are on strike, because next week it could be you.
Well, and when you hear things real, where you hear execs that are making gobs of money going, you know what, we'll just starve them out. And they mean that. And you're absolutely right. It doesn't just, it's not limited to writers and actors. It's limited to UPS drivers. It's limited to any profession where they go,
that's a whole nother show. But yes, it's a tough time. Hence the drinking.
Part 2.
So anyway, Phil's got a show, but we're not going to talk about it. But Somebody Feed Phil you can watch all the
I do have a podcast.
back episodes, and you got the podcast with David Wild, Naked Lunch with David Wild,
which
very entertaining.
Yeah, which is phenomenal. And I got to point out what Phil's been doing, because as I've been on Somebody Feed Phil, the hit show on Netflix. I was in Korea. Today, Phil has been handing out all of the drinks to the people that are here just off camera. And he does that on his food show also. I think because some of the crew will knife him if he doesn't share the food. But
it's only fun if you can share it.
Yeah, I think it's a very nice gesture, so that people don't know that that's been going on this entire time, that Phil has been nice enough to share with these now drunk people in the room.
He is a gentleman and a scholar, as are you, Tom.
Very generous with everything that was given to me.
He's very generous with other people's stuff.
Now, Tom was just on the show, and he already plugged his stuff. He's doing...
by the way, because I do stuff that's not necessarily alcohol related, but if you want to see Phil in action, Everybody Loves Raymond 360 is my Instagram and Facebook, and I talk about people who made the show, right behind the scenes of a show that's already been made, etc. So if you want to learn about it, it really is worth going to.
And I'm at the Imbiber on Instagram. Get on there. There can be some videos there of this. You can watch it. I want to thank everybody for listening. I know you've got a lot of options out there. There are, I think, millions of podcasts right now. And you're choosing to spend time with us here. And now we're going to get off and polish off the rest of this tequila and mezcal. Let's do it.
Here we go.
Thanks, everybody.
See you, Phil.
Good night.